I think she lost for one reason and one reason only. I don't think it's her horrible policies. I don't think it's, say, her lack of experience, her just complete and utter idiocy.
Now I don't wanna do it, but I ain't afraid to die. Lord knows I ain't perfect. I ain't trying to tell a lie. It's understood and I ain't hearing all that woulda, coulda, shoulda. Trying to say you want peace, then you burn the.
It was my God's honest that I was all about a non-violent approach, but it seems truth is a non-topic.
We're doing it in the bed tonight because we kind of did a favor for a friend, let them stay over, and we don't have many rooms in this house because of Bidenomics.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make a statement here that I wanted to give the reason why Kamala lost. I'm calling that shot. We'll release this before the results of the election. I think she lost for one reason and one reason only, and it's more of kind of a cultural psychology thing. I don't think it's her horrible policies. I don't think it's, say, her lack of experience, her just complete and utter idiocy. It has a little bit to do with her being an empty vessel. It doesn't have to do with, I love Trump's campaign, but it doesn't have to do with the great things that he's done. The election was theirs to lose, and she lost it by being indecisive. No one follows a leader who can't make a decision. And I know that people are thinking, oh, she's made plenty of decisions. She's decided to change her view on this thing. But not really. Her answer isn't like, yes, we need to frack right away. Here's why. Here's why I've changed my mind on that. It's my values haven't changed. Plain and simple. It's not about choosing to admit when you're right or wrong. There's a deeper thing. People want a leader who can make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people always give the example of she wouldn't be able to communicate in a room with a tough world leader.
We don't like fence riders, and she doesn't even ride the fence. She
She just rides. She rode Willie Brown.
Whatever's available that is married to someone else.
You're right. There you go. I mean, just for instance, Trump kind of had an open challenge right away. Like, I'll debate anywhere, anytime. The ball was in her court, and she didn't, state that she declined the first couple opportunities for the debate, but it was found out that she did. And then Trump had to kind of settle for the one she chose. But she didn't even come out and say, I chose. She could have said, I chose this one because they're the most valid, unbiased, whatever.
Any type of lie she could have made up. She
Yeah.
couldn't lie right.
She can't. She wouldn't condemn or celebrate Biden. She didn't have to go all the way with condemnation, but when she's asked what's going to be different about a presidency under you.
Yeah, she did a piss poor job even creating any type of separation, really.
Yeah, there is no separation because she won't make the decision to say, my presidency will be better.
Mm-hmm.
She just says it'll be different. My
name will just be in front of his this time.
Right, exactly. And you could just say, I chose that this works better for me or whatever, so there's nothing there. Her own, that's her own decisions. Like, say, when she's asked about, she flip-flopped on, say, gun rights, she flip-flopped on fracking, and then she kind of flip-flopped on the border.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard her say she learned some things, like, one time, but she's never said, like, look, here's the problem that was caused by this thing. Here's how I'm going to fix it. Anything like that. It shows no passion, no personality, and most importantly, no leadership. But the one that jumped out at me was the Israel-Hamas question. And the second time she was ever asked that, they edited the answer, put some weird word salad thing out there as the commercial to get people to want to watch, and then edited it and said it was from the same answer, but it made no sense in context. Not that there was context. But she the most she said is that, of course we should back an ally.
Right.
So, I mean, she didn't take a strong stance there. I mean, that is a major conflict in the Holy Land. It's unbelievable. Even with Russia, where she's, supposedly the last in the room when it comes to the negotiation
Yeah.
with NATO and everything on what they're going to do regarding Russia and whatnot. Putin ends up attacking and all this kind of stuff. Now she said, Russia's a big country next to a little country, and that's wrong to invade a little country. But seriously, she's never even used the Democrat excuse for this proxy war by saying that he's going to advance in Europe. If she has, someone correct me, but I'm almost positive she hasn't.
He hasn't.
I want to say Walls actually did.
He probably did.
Abortion. She's never committed to where she is on it. She said that she believes in a woman's right to choose, but Trump and pretty much even everyone else on her side of the aisle has been kind of forced to give an amount of weeks.
Yeah, that they would say is okay with them.
Their personal belief, even though it has nothing to do with it right now.
Right, because it's with the states.
It would really have something to do with it if it wasn't with the states, which is what she wants.
Right.
So how do we not know what her stance is on how many weeks?
It's just that she's for it, and that's just fine and dandy with her.
And that's the thing. When you are not a decisive person, you do not have a strong opinion on anything, most people are going to guess the worst.
They're going to make up their mind for you. They'll make up
right.
your mind, and it's usually definitely worst case scenario that you're thinking because you're panicking. It's a leader, so you're like, oh my God, what is going to happen if they do this and go this route, and then...
Yeah, your worry kicks in. She's never, I said from her personal life, and this may sound a little strange, but okay, so she has no children. She's never said, I have no children because I focused on my career solely, and I believe that's very important, and that's why I'm going to do A, B, and C. She's never said, oh, I can't have any, or I didn't have the right relationship, or any of these things.
Yeah.
It's like she doesn't even give you, it's not just insight into her personal life. It's that
a human being and why she may have some type of opinion.
She has no opinion on anything. I mean, we know that her beliefs have a communist backbone, but, well, she doesn't really have any backbone. So that was a bad analogy.
About herself is that she comes from a middle class.
Right, which is untrue. So when you have one so-called truth and it's untrue, that's bad. I mean, she said she used to, roll out the little Kwanzaa mat.
And then she had to make a lot of greens in the bathtub.
Yeah, and the Kwanzaa thing was untrue because the age she said she was, Kwanzaa didn't exist yet. And the greens in the bathtub is just... that was her hot sauce in the purse thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, even if you go back to Biden, when she was, debating him in the one primary she was ever a part of, where she was just horribly embarrassed by Tulsi, but she was terrible before that, where she was actually, for once, very detailed and passionate on Biden being a racist.
Oh, yeah.
And giving examples of that. And, when she ends up the vice president based on a DEI hire, she doesn't really go anywhere with that like, she doesn't say, listen, I understand that's how things were back then.
But
Joe's changed. He proved me changed. Or, you know what? I took some of that out of context, So now it's true and untrue. So it's kind of, even that is wishy-washy. She's talked about the Green New Deal, but she hasn't talked about what she's going to do to be a part of that. She just said, oh, yeah, of course I support that, when she's talking in front of people that support that. And the biggest thing that showed this to me is the recent thing that should be a bigger story, where in places where she needed to win the Jewish vote, she ran the pro Israel
Yeah.
ad, and places where she needed the Palestinian, or the Muslim vote,
Yeah.
she ran the pro-Palestine ad, to the point where there were Jews in New York in the streets.
They were running at the same time. I mean, this is.
Yeah,
That's
you
unheard
picked
of.
both.
That on the same day. Like, I mean, come on.
It's unbelievable to me, honestly, that she's the worst candidate I've ever
If
seen.
Trump did that, people would be losing their minds.
And see, we always say that, and I mean, in all honesty, they could have dragged almost anyone out there.
Yeah.
I really, truly hate to say that about Trump, because I think he's become a remarkable candidate as far as how he's, basically put I don't know, I guess the interest of Americans above everything else, and created a new party, essentially.
The Common Sense Unity Party.
Yeah, the Common Sense Unity Party, whatever it ends up being called, it's no longer the GOP at all. But yeah, he's done that, but yet and still, the way that they're able to paint him in the media and everything, even with Elon taking over X, and to be honest, that is the other huge contributing factor to that. We would have no real news if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, none.
I mean, we have all of our alternative, newscasters and podcasters and things of that nature, but we wouldn't have.
It's unbelievable. But outside of that, even with that, I think that they could have trotted just about anyone out there and still won.
Yeah.
It's like Trump had the bad, or at least it could be cheated enough to where it'd be believable if he lost. I mean, this reminds me of Hillary, where it was just like she was extremely unlikable, and people say she was just a piss poor candidate. But now you have somebody out there who's much worse, because at least Hillary had the recognizable name.
She had the experience.
Yep. And, a lot of Republicans even viewed Clinton's presidency as a good one.
Right.
Believe it or not.
To Bush and
yeah, exactly.
People were like, oh, okay, Clinton was great.
Right. And so you had the name, you had the experience as Secretary of State, all these things, that you had the money behind you, of course, like now
she
the
was
media.
A female powerhouse, you just didn't.
But she's not likable.
No.
And so she lost.
And obviously we don't support her in any way.
Oh, absolutely not. She's one of the most evil people on earth.
Yeah.
But she's, extremely unlikable, and I think Kamala's worse than her. There's nothing there. It really is the empty vessel thing, I guess, because
she can't command a room, let alone, one person at their front door.
You have to have some kind of conviction to be able to command anything.
Yeah.
People look to somebody who can make decisions and stand firm on them. It can be the wrong decision and people will still respect it.
Yeah.
Kind of like they say, you get someone's respect even if you get your ass kicked.
You gotta fight for something.
Right. And there's so many ways, and J.D. Vance pointed this out, there's so many ways she could have justified certain things, and she just lost on every point that's ever been brought up to her, which is few.
Yeah.
But she's lost on every single one of them by not standing firm on anything. Trump, on the other hand, has stood firm on things that maybe deep down he feels were a mistake.
Yeah.
But he comes from Cohn's philosophy. He learned from that, as his father did, partly, that you don't admit a mistake. Even deep down within your own damn soul, You don't admit a mistake. So anyways, that was just something I wanted to say. I wanted to call the win. I wanted to say everything I've observed is just remarkably pro-Trump. And see, that's the thing. When it was found that she's indecisive and you can't get excited around this candidate and she's an empty vessel, he did the right things. There's another thing where she was indecisive. People think of it as it was a bad decision or she was afraid to do Rogan. Maybe she was afraid. But the problem wasn't so much that she didn't do it. it was the indecisiveness that led her to not doing it. It was you found out that she got asked first,
Yeah.
and then she,
Multiple times.
yeah, laid down demands. And in all honesty, if you kind of read between the lines, it seems to me like Joe was just really chomping at the bit to give her a
Oh,
chance
yeah,
on
he
there,
wanted
and
her to
almost
have a
didn't
chance
want
to
to put
talk.
Trump on. And he said
Mhm.
many times before he didn't want to. Not much had
Mhm.
changed either, as far as how he felt about that. But she blew that chance, and possibly any kind of support that Rogan could have ever lent to that party.
Mhm.
She's been indecisive on speaking about. Even if she's not asked about it, how do you not speak about two major figures in your party leaving and going to the other party?
Yeah. Well,
You
she'll
could,
bring up a list of Republicans that have voted out. It's like a bunch of
oh
Republicans that
God,
nobody
horrible
gives a shit about. They're
warmongers.
awful.
Yeah, just
Like, we never
absolutely
wanted
awful
them.
ones. No, those are the ones we're ashamed
We
of.
don't claim them.
No, and I mean, she can't come out and say, hey, she could say something positive about Tulsi and say, this is very unfortunate that she's left. You could see how she feels, like everyone or people who really
If
know
she
what
was
they're talking about.
Obama, he would have masterfully spun
Oh
that in
God,
some
yes.
perfect direction while praising her and, still making his party look good and
Oh
like they're
yeah.
more righteous. He would have done it in this beautiful spider web. And
And
it would have been
and
great.
I'm asking that she, spiderweb, because it would totally trap you.
Yeah.
I feel like she could have even done far less than that and
Mhm.
just given some bullshit lie.
Anything.
She could say, I was too busy with other things to even know any details of that. I'm sorry, I can't comment. There's been times where Trump wouldn't comment on people, didn't denounce them and stuff. Now, most of those are proven untrue, but he's like, I don't even know what this thing is. I
Yeah.
didn't read 2025. Like, or he just admits it. Where he could have easily just said, like, oh, yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely everything in it's terrible. And if they would have pushed him on what, he could just say, let's talk about things we are going to do. That's
Yeah.
something we're not going to do. This is very easy. The lying that is required for a party who owns the media and all of entertainment and has basically convinced almost half the population that the other guy is Hitler. It doesn't take much to win. I mean, in all seriousness, I'm no genius in this stuff, but it's simply marketing, and it's not hard to do. You saw that it didn't work when she was chosen as vice president. Nobody was excited about it. Nobody liked her any more than they did before when they didn't like her.
Yeah.
So why would you think this is the way to go? And I understand you probably just had white guys to pick from, and one was a Jewish guy.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Honestly, Gavin Newsom would have been absolutely perfect. I mean, they said, like, oh, he hasn't been fully vetted, like, as a presidential candidate. Number one, I'm not sure I believe that.
I don't believe that either. They're just scared something will come out that'll make him look really bad.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. They're saying he wasn't totally vetted, so maybe something's there.
No, I think something is there. And
oh, you're saying you think there is actually
Yeah.
something there. Now,
Yeah.
I know of one thing, but he could spin it. But the guy is just
He's
a
masterful at
remarkable.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's fantastic at it, to where, you watch him and go, I don't hate this guy. I like his energy, and then you go, oh my God, what am I saying?
Yeah,
This
he's
guy's
horrible.
the devil. And that's exactly it.
Yeah, that's what the devil does.
Yeah.
He showed up wrapped as a shiny present with the bow that you want.
Yeah.
Everything that you could ever ask for.
Yeah, it's like you really want a
And you open it and
guitar,
it kills
and you
you.
see your present is shaped just like a guitar, and it's in wrapping paper and stuff.
You
But
open it and it's a bomb.
yeah, it's a bomb, or it's a guitar shaped gun
And
that
it
fucking
said,
fires when
like
you look
all
at it.
the words right there that we're not supposed to say.
Yeah, let's say them all. But anyways, I think that's really all that I have to say on this. We have to do the video or the introduction on the interview we have on Old Fort. Old Fort's a small community that's hit very hard by Helene.
Yeah.
This is still our main focus. There's another one.
Yeah.
Nobody
talked
Biden
about that.
/ Harris dropped the ball on Western North Carolina and everywhere else that was affected by Helene. And I just mean that she could have taken a stance and said, I feel like our response was slow. If I had not been
everything we can to make it up to you, something,
right,
anything.
you could have done something there. But either way, the people of Western North Carolina, I've noticed, are never going to forget this.
Oh, we got it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Old Fort's a small community that was hit very hard. Some very, very interesting stuff found in an inadvertent interview I had, where it was just a conversation with a guy who kind of was the perfect person to talk to about what happened in that community during and after, the entire month after the community was half wiped out. And it was just that I was testing radiation levels, and I was filming that, and the guy started talking to me. I put my phone in my pocket and never turned it off. So hopefully, he won't be upset that I end up using his voice, but I'm not going to leave his name in there. I think he'd be cool with it, to be honest, though.
If he comes
Because
across
he was going to
it
send
at some point, or we show it to him or whatever, and he wants us to use his name or do further interviews, we'll do that.
Absolutely, and he's supposed to send me videos of. My God, he had some videos of things as they were happening with timestamps to show that people had no time to know exactly how bad this would be.
Understand all that stuff you see on TikTok.
God, no. He lost 2 homes, and only he and one other man are left in his neighborhood, and it's not really a small neighborhood. It's several blocks. Yeah. Everybody else's homes are wiped out completely. So, and we talked to people who are working there, doing donations, who now moved to a different place because a certain corporation told them they didn't want them there.
Coincidentally, I connected with that lady again today by accident.
Yeah, that's right. I seen that.
Weekend, so.
And some very not coincidental, some very interesting things about FEMA that aren't what we've been saying about FEMA. Everybody's experiences are different. Mm-hmm. By and large, I don't feel that the experiences with them have been good. But there's a good explanation as to how they handle things when they handle them right. And may not just be that organization's fault. That I think that even when they do them right, it's not enough. Yeah. But there's some explanation of that. We're not going to let that story die. It's too big of a thing. It's a once in 1,000 years or more occurrence. It's
basically become my whole existence now. So
yeah, she's still heavily, working with the church and everything, and different organizations to bring stuff in for people. I am going to try very hard to find extra time to talk to more people and document more things. And we have a pretty good timeline on Old Fort, and a lot of stuff from our story starts in Old Fort. So we're going to get on doing that. But I just wanted to say that nana nana boo boo, boo hoo.
I love the libs, as Benny would say.
Yeah, I'm loving the taste of liberal tears.
I really just hope that this message finds you right now in a state of celebration for our country.
Absolutely.
I truly do.
And I know there are some secret, there's some people out there with common sense who did do the thing that they tried to portray women as doing.
But the other way around.
Yeah, where they're, whether it's their friends or it's their significant other, whatever it is, family, where they're expected to vote one way, but once they get in that booth, they vote on another. Yeah. I think there might be some of those who kind of smirk to themselves. And everybody check out Dinesh's movie. I think it's called Vindicating Trump. I watched it. It's great. I haven't
watched it yet. So
there's a character in there who actually, it's a black gentleman who actually is that, where you can kind of see that he's changing by common sense, and he's kind of enjoying watching Trump do his dance. And you'll just have to watch it. It's actually pretty well done. And I think it's still free on YouTube. So definitely check that out and check out Am I Racist too.
Oh yeah.
It's now on Daily Wire as part of the subscription, which is totally worth
So
it
worth
anyway.
it, yeah.
Even if you want to do a trial, do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Watch Am I Racist? And if you haven't seen it, go back and watch What is a Woman?
So good.
Matt Walsh is a remarkable filmmaker, actually. And the fact
really
that he
is.
goes out there and does this, and how funny the guy is with being just a very dry person
And just serious.
and moral person.
It's fantastic.
It's
It's brilliant.
people have to understand that it is a documentary.
Yeah, it's not actors.
No, these people are just so over the top, and it's a real thing. And when you find
hard
out,
to believe.
now see, it's hilarious. Rogan said it was one of the funniest things he's ever seen. It is funny, but I was straight up
scary
offended
and sad though. Yeah,
at
like
how much
really,
money
like,
these people make for these imaginary jobs.
I probably
Like,
made some of the craziest faces I've ever made while watching
yeah, I
that
seen
movie.
them. Yeah. So, anyways, make sure you check out our Helene coverage. We have a great interview, and it's partly broken into chapters with Sadie. You'll see that on our page. We have a Helene playlist, but it's also up there with our most recent videos. There's a bunch of shorts. There's some information about people in the area, or if you have family or friends here regarding the water and testing your water and soil.
Yeah.
So we'll keep doing that and keep updating people as much as we can, and hopefully it makes just, a handful of people know some things and keep their situation from being even worse than what it already is.
Yeah.
And if you can, continue to pray for the people of Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee. I mean, obviously the ones that were affected also in Georgia and Florida. If you're a praying person, I think most people that'll watch our podcast are. And
Pray for America tonight too.
Absolutely. And shout out to True Stream Media again, because we've had so many people come over from their channel. It's remarkable. One day I will have the budget to put things together the way they do. Go back and watch our video, Shapes of Their Choosing, which was originally inspired by an idea that was in one of the bigger True Stream Media things, where I just expounded on one part of it.
If you don't know them, check them out. They're incredible.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely.
Absolutely great.